Hello everybody, welcome back to Wolfeei. Today, long overdue, is the Chamber Trials 8 event review. Look, don't blame me. Everyone decided it was time to start announcing stuff or do cool things, and I like talking about them, and this one unfortunately just took the lower priority. But here we are talking about Chamber Trials 8, which was the first time I played in Chamber Trials, the Minecraft event, of course. And also the first time I think where Chamber Trials kind of took a proper turn into a different direction. I think, to my knowledge, at least from everything that's been going on regarding this Chamber Trials, including some discussion on Twitter, etc. Chamber Trials is taking a turn to become more of a content creator, like proper, like full content creator based roster. Rather than kind of just, a more competitive whatever type of roster. Also, very much leaning into the competitiveness further and further. So it's a pretty drastic path to go in. Of course, a very, what's it called? Definitive path, I guess, to take. And I think it's very interesting. Of course, it does come with some quirks. Like mentioned on Twitter, some people expressed concerns regarding how some of the staff had been talking about people and how the approach is like kicking people out essentially, and totally fair criticism. I won't give my stance on it because I think both, the staff side and the people that don't get to play much aside are valid. It's just kind of pick your preference, I guess. Either way, we can go past it because this is a situation that on Twitter had been resolved. People apologize, whatever. Today we're going to be talking about the actual event review, the actual gameplay, how it went, etc. Yeah, let's get into it. I unfortunately forgot to grab an image of everybody who played in this event, but it was a very high comp event. There was a couple of speedrunners, some people who had never played events before, and overall the teams were just very stacked. Either way, we'll be talking about the games, etc. From this event. There were 2 new games. I think the names of them are Siege and the movement parkour game. I don't remember the name. We'll get to it later, though. Either way, to start with Siege, you're seeing the gameplay on screen here. This was a new game. Nobody had played it before. One of the main things that became a little bit apparent from this event was that the update video, in fact, did not reveal all the required necessary information for especially some of the newer games. This one was the main one that fell short to the update video lacking information, because what's very notable here is when you mine a block, you gain mining fatigue. We didn't know that. And also, you only get to place your blocks at the beginning of the game and not every round, which my team also didn't know, which meant that my team kind of lost the game partially because of that, because we didn't really know what we were doing with the block placement, etc. I say lost, we didn't actually do that bad. I think our team got like 3rd or something in the game. Let me actually check real quick. Somewhere over here. We got 3rd, yeah, okay. So, we did it right. But Siege as a game, I think is fine. I talked with Chaos about this briefly. Siege in Chamber Trials, to me, feels the same as Lunge in main Block Horse. It's a PvP game with another objective, or like PvP isn't even really the main objective. It's like a pseudo PvP game that is completely fine to be in the roster, but it'll never be the reason, in my opinion, why somebody would want to play the game. I think it's inoffensive, right? But I don't think it's great. Like, I think if somebody called, if somebody, I'll just use Lunge as an example. If somebody said Lunge in main event is a 7 out of 10 game, I'd be like, that's maybe like the high end, but sure. If someone said Lunge is like a 4, I'd be like, sure, depends on how you enjoy playing events. The same, I think, applies to Siege in Chamber Trials, where, like, if you said it's like a 7, I'm like, yeah, sure. And then if you said it's like a 4, I'm like, maybe, maybe a bit higher. So, like, it's a game that's definitely not bad, but it's definitely not great. It's just, like, safe PvP game in the roster. Another thing I want to say about this, these 2 new games that were added to Chamber Trials, is that they didn't feel like original concepts, which isn't a bad thing necessarily, but it's not ideal. It's totally fine to add a new game to your event that isn't like a brand spanking new idea. As long as it fits, I think Siege fits decently well. It does feel very Minor Mania-esque. And I think the other game, I think it's Flow State is the name of it, fits really well into Chamber Trials, but it does feel very much like Trailblazers, Jumping Mad, kind of crossover, baby, whatever, right? Either way, if I were to rank the games for this event, this is a placeholder, by the way. I don't think any of these are a D. I'm going to rank, or I'm going to review, rank whatever the games in the context of a highly competitive event, because I think it's important to remove like certain events from the average, I guess, context, right? Same way Block Wars wouldn't be compared to a Pandora's Box in terms of games, or vice versa, in terms of game design, because it appeals to a different roster. Because this event is leaning in a more competitive route, I'm going to be considering these games in the context of a highly competitive event. Also, Quick Draw will be the placeholder for Siege, and Jumper will be the placeholder for Flow State, because neither of these games have been added to the tier list that everybody uses for ranking games. I would say, like mentioned, Quick Draw, inoffensive, I'd give it a B. Like, I think it's like, this is like, okay, right? Like, great, good, okay, meh. It's okay. I think it's, yeah, it works. I think it's inoffensive. Next up, coincidentally, the VOD scrolled right to it, was Blitz, which is, like, I would compare it most to Battle. It's not really Battle. It's kind of, like, this is, the thing is, like, I don't mean to compare games in the sense of, like, writing them off as, like, oh, it's just this. It feels the most like Battle, comparatively, to me at least. Although it doesn't have that many kits or anything. It has, like, the kits are kind of like how the kits are laid out in, what's it called? Temple Lockout, where you have, like, the same kit round 1 and 2, or, like, similar kit, and then the round 3 is, like, a whole different one. That's the kit build up for this game. There is a secondary objective of mining blocks. That's the second PvP game from this event that has a mining blocks gimmick, I guess, right? And it was fine. I was going into this game, I was told that this would be, like, the worst one, essentially. At least from Chaos made it very clear that this was the one he was looking at to be the least favorite, or something like that. I notoriously haven't been, like, the biggest fan of Battle Royale PvP games. I will say this probably wasn't my least favorite experience, though, that I played in this event. I think this one was also fine. It makes sense to be in Chamber Trials, but again, I don't think this would be the type of game that people would seek out to play Chamber Trials for, if that makes sense. Which is also fine. It's just a game that I think is okay to have in the roster. Maybe, you know, add a little bit of an extra bit of flair and spice to it. That could help it, but I think for the rest it was chill. My team did, like, okay, kind of. One round I think we did, like, kind of meh, but, like, Kel Awesome is on my team, so of course we're gonna have somebody do well in the PvP game. Yeah, for the rest, the game is fine. One thing I also need to mention regarding Chamber Trials 8 is that they decided to remove survival points, which, sure, whatever. Obviously that's a controversial change because of how adamant certain people are in favor or against the lack of survival points in Pandora's Box. So the same will apply here. There are going to be people who continuously will not like that that's a thing, and there are going to be some people who will continuously defend that it should be in there. I think it's unnecessary to remove survival points right now. I think it needs to be justified. If you want to remove survival points, which is an okay thing to want to do, you need to put something in the game to make up for it, and neither this game or the other game where it's relevant, we'll get to that next, the Sky game, got any gameplay changes that made it justified to change the points to remove survival points. So it's a bit of a weird change. I think in Blitz, it's like fine. It's okay. Like, sure. In the Sky game, I think it's kind of dumb. In this one, I'm like, whatever, right? Sure. If you want to remove survival points, whatever. But at least add something else to make up for it. That isn't just, oh, you can mine more blocks now. Because, yeah, people aren't going to play differently to make up for the change in survival points. That's the main thing that's important regarding removing points from a game, especially when it's so intuitive to get points for such things. So yeah, I would put Blitz also in the okay tier. I might order them at some point. I don't know. I feel like pretty much the same about both of these games. They're like a 6.5 for the context of this event. I think they're like fine. Sure. It's like, yeah, sure. Yeah, right. It works like a 6. Sure. Next up is Skyfest, which is their Sky PvP game. This game also has a secondary objective or gimmick to mine ores, which, yes, that is the third one back to back to back in this event, which was a very interesting thing that we noticed, which is pretty funny. This game was my least favorite, I think, that I played during Chamber Trials 8. I think this game feels very unnecessary to be included. It feels like there's a Sky game in the roster just because there quote-unquote should be a Sky game in the roster, when I don't think this game really adds too much to the experience of the event, and it feels like if this game was either swapped in and out with Blitz, or if it was just kind of like not perma-benched, but like mostly benched, I think it'd be totally fine. I feel like this game doesn't really, again, have much of an appeal to want to desire to play it. Not to compare, but like I could see somebody wanting to play an MCC for a Sky Battle, because Sky Battle, as much as it has fallen off a bit, is still really good. I think this game, apparently from what I've heard, this is the best the game has been, and I didn't really enjoy it too much. But again, I've notoriously not been the biggest fan of Sky games either, Sky PvP games. But I do think with some of the stuff that Chamber Trials has been doing, I think they have the potential very much to make some interesting changes to some of these games that I've mentioned that aren't my favorite, and make them great. I think they definitely could. It just needs a lot of attention. I think what Chamber Trials should work on now is, as much as adding new games and stuff is really cool, you should try to focus on also fixing some of the games if possible, because games like Sky PvP and like Blitz not as much, but it's like Battle Royale and Sky PvP and even like Race and even like just a parkour game, right? Those types of games I think are always not gonna be great to have an event if they don't do much to be in the event, right? I think, for example, survival games in MCC is unnecessary because it doesn't really add anything to the experience of MCC. Sure, put it in once or twice a year. Sure, it's going to be like fun to see something different, because that's a whole different issue for MCC sometimes to deal with. That is the variance of content. In something like Chamber Trials, where you already have a pretty big like amount or like a large amount of games. If we look down here, they have a chain game that they could put in as a fun gimmick. I thought they had other games as well, but maybe I'm wrong. Either way, they have, actually, I think Quick Draw is another game they have. I'm just using it as a placeholder. There's other games you could throw in, even if the games aren't that great. I think it would be better if you had something like a Quick Draw or something like whatever, right, other simple game that you already have over either Blitz or Skyfest in the same roster, because they are Battle Royale with a gimmick of mining ores, but one of them is just in the sky, which is like again, inoffensive for the most part. It's not like this is gonna ruin your event experience, unless you get shit on, of course, but this isn't gonna be the end-all be-all of your event experience, probably. I just feel like for an event that's trying to actively make a name for itself and grow, I feel like this is a type of game that is unnecessary to be included unless it is given more attention to. This will be the only game that I will put in meh. I think this is the one game I played, keep in mind, I am biased negatively, that I felt was lackluster, really, for the context of the event. It didn't feel necessary to be included. Either way, then we move on to Game 4, which is the other new game, Flow State, like mentioned, it is the most reminiscent of kind of a mix between the Jumping Mad format of 3 difficulties, multiple levels, etc., and Trailblazers, testing every movement type or a variety of movement types. Every movement type that was tested in Flow State is a movement type also in Trailblazers. That is not like a problem at all. I'm just saying, that's why the comparison makes sense. It makes sense to have those movement types because as much as I wish there was more variety in terms of movement types, it is a bit limited because of how Minecraft works. Unless you want to make it very janky, and that wouldn't be very fun, especially for a high comp roster where people would probably care very much about competitive integrity. Either way, Flow State was good. I think it makes sense for an event like this to have Flow State. It feels like an elevated experience of like Jumping Mad to an extent, right? I'd rather do 10 or however many minutes of a variety of movement courses rather than just 10 or however many minutes of one movement type, right? I wish that I like the variety. I think it's good. It's one of the main criticisms I've had of to get to the other side, where I wish they tested different movement types a bit more, which they totally could, rather than just having the same type of thing. That's like, one of the main, like parts criticisms, more so just wish. I wish they did more movement types. So I think Flow State's fine. I think it fits well into this roster, and especially for the context of, also I should probably explain, it's parkour, then you do dropper, then you do elytra, then you do obstacles. It's at the end here, or at the scoreboard there. I think it's safe to be in an event like this. I think it works. Again, is it original? Not really, but that doesn't really matter if it works for your event. It's the only reason originality really is relevant here is because it's advertised as a flashy new game, when the flashy new game doesn't really present anything new to the table of the general event scene, right? I would say that again, this is meant to be Flow State. Jumper is the placeholder. Is an A. I think it makes sense. It's a good game. I think it works for this event. I didn't have any issues with it, really. So the only issue possibly is that like the skill requirement for this game is pretty high, but that probably just comes with the progression of higher and higher comp being pushed. I'm very curious long term how well that will uphold within Chamber Trials, because I think there is a limit to what level of competitiveness is going to be regularly tolerated, I guess, right? I'm curious. I think Chamber Trials will limit test that. I thought PB would do it, but Chamber Trials has already kind of exceeded the PB levels of limit testing, so curious to see how that will come together. Anyways, that was halfway through the event. There was a little break, of course, as per usual with Minecraft events, and then we go on to the next, which was Mad Dash, their racing game. This was on a Christmas-themed map, which is really funny. In the update video, I had my criticisms about it. I don't think it actually matters that much. I just thought it was pretty funny and goofy and silly that they had a Christmas-themed map in August. Oh, I missed the jump pad there. One thing to give as criticism of this event, or of this game, I should first say this is like just a racing game. It's like, it's at least better than just like doing parkour and stuff, right? But like in the modern day event scene, this feels relatively standard, which is fine. I think from what I heard, the like directions for this map are like, there were parts of it that could be improved possibly. I just kind of went the intuitive route and it worked out. I know Booster had issues with it, and then he just ended up giving up, which is like a bummer, of course. I also think this map specifically felt too long. If you look on the right here, my lap time finish is like well over 2 minutes, and that is like not like bad, it's more like, oh, it felt just a bit long, in my opinion, which again, like, maybe some people like having longer race maps. To me, it felt just a little bit exhausting to be playing race for that amount of time. For the rest, I think this game is solid. I don't think it harms the inclusion. It's not a harmful inclusion in Chamber Trials. However, I also think if it were to be possible to not have this game included, I don't think that would be a problem either, because it is just a racing game. It doesn't really provide much like unique gameplay, which is whatever, right? So I would put Mad Dash also in. It's fine. Solid game. This is gonna look, I will say now, I think personally, for the most part, the game order kind of went from like meh to good. I think most of the better games are to be left. Just want to clarify, because this kind of makes it seem like I don't like this event, but I had a good time. Just, you know, I'm not the biggest PvP Andy, and then some games like this are just like whatever. Either way, next up was golf. This was one of the two main games hyped up to me when I went into this event. These are like the 2-star games from Chamber Trials, and I think it makes sense for them to be the 2-star games of Chamber Trials. It makes, yeah, like, these games are just the best ones they have. Golf is a team game where you play golf, you take turns punching an armor stand into a specific objective, or like into a hole, and then you move on, kind of grid runner style, to see who can make it the furthest, and or who can finish first, etc. This game was fun. I had a good time. I will say, my opinion about the visuals of this game still stand. I think it's a bit goofy. That's weird. That it's just armor stands being punched on some like ice with carpets. I understand that functionally that's good. It just, again, feels like a beta version of what the actual game should look like. This feels like the test rendition for when you first make the game, but this is the final version of the game, which feels a bit silly. It is very good though. I think this is a great game. I don't know. Something about the game felt like a bit bleh, but it's not bleh as in like I don't like it. More like maybe it was just because I got rage baited by Sleepy the entire time, or maybe I'm just like not good at the game or what, or something like that. But it felt very it felt like the whole world was against me in this game. The whole world being my 3 teammates. This is a good game. I think. I think it's, comparatively to these games, it's definitely like the best they have to offer, and it's a really good game. I don't think golf is necessarily good in the, I don't think golf being good is because of the context of the event. I just think it's a good game mode. Like, I think if golf was even in something like Block Horse, assuming, you know, it's visually updated, etc., it would be fine. It wouldn't be as good, of course, because it's better to have more highly skilled Minecraft players play something like this than people that aren't as highly skilled at Minecraft, but I still think it would work. And as much as I, spoiler alert, think soccer is their best game with a decent margin above golf, I don't think golf and flow state are at the same level. I think golf is a level above. So yeah, that is my take on that. Which does lead us to the next game, which was indeed soccer. I hate calling it that, but that's the name of the game. This is a football match, team versus team, round robin. You work with your team. There's a bow in the middle. You shoot arrows. You gotta shoot quick, or else you can get the ball stolen from you, or the arrow stolen from you. And you gotta score by shooting one of the golems in your team's, or in the opposing team's spawn, of course. This is the best game they have, and I think it's fantastic. It's a teamwork game. Sure, it's got like, I get, you could call it like, you could not really ever call this a PvP game. Of course, it's just a teamwork game. I think it's a cool strategy game. I think this is great. If there were ever to be another like Minecraft event game draft where you got to pick the best game, like a best game from every event, this is the one I would pick. I think it's the best, and I liked it a lot. Soccer is the #1 game from Chamber Trials. This is a really cool one. I will say the one downside I really noticed with this one is that there is like very much a ping issue with like how accurately things feel. It's like, that's just Minecraft to an extent, but it is very much like the game is designed around like certain like levels of accuracy and whatever, and it didn't really like come through the best for me sometimes. There were moments where I thought I would be able to shoot over somebody, or I thought I would be able to hit something, and I didn't because of the 100-ish ms ping that I had. So yeah, that's the one downside, but like I still think this is the best game they have to offer. It was really hype. And then finally, well, not finally, the last mini game that we played was Gold Rush, which going into this event I thought was just SOT but not as good. It's not. It's definitely not SOT, but not as good. Of course, it felt pretty distinct as a dungeon crawler game. It does feel like the expected approach to a dungeon crawler game, pretty much, right? You go in a dungeon, there are mobs, there's spawners to break, there's puzzles to solve, but that's good. I mean, like that's what people want from a dungeon crawler for the most part, and that makes it a good game. I must mention there are like team-based puzzles, which I think is cool. There are like puzzles that require like a few more players than just one, and that means that it incentivizes people to play together a decent bit sometimes, which I think is good. This game I liked a lot, and I would put it in A. So I'll try to order them at least mentally. I think I liked this game more than Blitz. Still, I think Mad Dash I would put over Blitz. Skyfest here. Oh, forgot to rank the Inferno, my bad. The finale I think is good. I think it makes a lot of sense to have the finale in the way it is in this event. It's like a 1v1 showdown between all members of the teams, and it's like different challenges, right? Different tests to 1v1, and you see a crossbow duel here. There was a different duel where you had to build your own parkour course essentially and make it to the end. I played a bow, or sorry, not a bow. I played a sword duel against somebody, and then we had Kel, I think, played like a parkour tag type of duel. So it was like high intensity duels between two players. I think it makes a lot of sense. I think it's a good finale, especially in the context of, or more so, I think it's a really good finale in the context of a competitive event, which is what I'm talking about. So I would say that the Inferno, I wouldn't say that they would need to change it. It doesn't feel like there's anything really wrong with this one. I think it's also, good. It's like an A. I don't know where I would put this specifically though, within the rankings. I think I'd honestly put it here. I think this is good. It's like here or here. I think within the context of a highly competitive event, their finale is definitely great. I think they have a good foundation of finale here, and I think it would be a shame if they ever got rid of it. Let me skip ahead to my portion just to show it. Me, the PvP washed player of all time, clutches up in the duel. Watch this. Nope. I get clapped, but boom, bang, boom, bang. I did get clapped a little bit there, but it's fine. Bang and bang. Beautiful. You'll have to see it. Anyways, that is my ranking or rating of the event. From the rankings I have overall, you can see that I had a good time. I mean, if B is okay, that means that my average would be more close to A, right, than it is to B, because of how the things are weighted. So that's good. I'd rate this experience like a 7 out of 10. For my first time, considering I didn't really know the best of what was going on, the next time I play, it would probably be better. So yeah, Chamber Trials 8, good event. I liked it. As much as there was, of course, some discourse on Twitter about it, I think as much as it's not like fully resolved, I think they addressed it decently well, and I think we can continue to play Chamber Trials in the future. Anyways, thank you for watching. I'll see you later. Goodbye.